that is why I think it's so important to start being curious and ask yourself different questions. And the more questions that you ask, the better you become at asking questions. And your critical mind evolves. Meaning goes into a further layer of understanding, and the meaning is embedded into yourself. So that is how you actually own words and how you can actually use them to understand the world, but also to communicate with others in a more strategic way, to go with your message through intention. But instead of saying, I do not know, that's the first thing that it comes to their minds. However, they're blocking themselves from coming with an answer. And instead of replying, I do not know now, or I do not know that yet, or let me find out. So this is pretty much the reframing that also helps you to implement this kind of growth mindset. To be honest, this is one of the biggest things that many people might think love is a weakness. Because in case that you get broken-hearted, then you become weak in a way, right?
Right. Yeah.
However, I think it's important to understand that you can be strong and be weak at the same time.
What about
Our minds emit energy
by using words?
by using words. Is the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life?
Hello and welcome to Fioras World Podcast. I have a new special guest today with me, Dulce Alvarez, all the way from London. And she's an author of a book, which, would you like to introduce the book, please, Dulce?
Yes, so it's a very uncommon book. It's nothing that I have seen before myself, and I don't think anyone. And this is a digital book, but it's also an interactive book. So you can interact with it with tablet or computer or something like that. That this technology is something that exists already. However, the content of the book is a little bit different. The book is called Word Mastery.
Word Mastery.
Yeah, Word Mastery. This is Lexilume, the brand that we are managing at the moment. And what it is about is it is a tool to help people understand vocabulary through a different lens. And this is pretty much learning through meaning, not learning through definitions.
It's really nice, really great, because we all think sometimes what the particular word might mean, but do we actually know it?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
What
I think
it means to us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you have a really good point. Most of the words that we learn are, or at least that we learn from school or kind of academic type of words, they come from repetition. So it is this kind of rota learning that is implemented at school. So we get a word list. Even in primary schools, children are pushed to do the spelling, right? And then look up the words and memorize the definitions and then just go with it. However, that definition does not tell the meaning. Meaning goes into a further layer of understanding, and the meaning is embedded into yourself. So that is how you actually own words and how you can actually use them to understand the world, but also to communicate with others in a more strategic way, to go with your message through intention. Because it's different to say, for example, the house is big, right? Or I have really big problems, or I have something. And then you can reframe it in a way that sounds with more intention. Like, for example, the house is enormous, right? The problem might not be big, but it can be actually a challenge, right? I have a very challenging issue here. And then when you have a challenge, then you know that you can overcome it. But choosing the words in the reframing your thought can help you to even sort out your own issues or to have a different think about how you see the world.
Would you say that we might actually use the words in incorrect way, and also not knowing that we affirming something into the world by using these words.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is right. There are so many common words that are kind of stopping us from thinking beyond what we see in front of us. For example, sometimes the first reaction from people when asked a question, they might be saying, I don't know. But instead of saying, I do not know, that's the first thing that it comes to their minds. However, they're blocking themselves from coming with an answer. And instead of replying, I do not know now, or I do not know that yet, or let me find out. So this is pretty much the reframing that also helps you to implement this kind of growth mindset that you have, or you might allow yourself to be discovering or developing within yourself, so you can actually move forward. And talking about the mindset, the growth mindset, there is a lot, plenty being discussed lately from this study done by Carol, Dr. Carol, I don't remember her last name, but she did a test in different schools, and then she found out that actually the reframing of I do not know that yet had an implication on how well the children will do or perform later on. And it's not only children, but it's adults as well that might have this kind of growth mindset. This is the difference between having a fixed mindset where you say, okay, this is something, a definition, I'm not good enough. For example, some people might say that. And then even by saying that, it impacts their body, their minds, and everything, and it stops them. So because we are a whole, we are not only in their minds, we are souls, we are bodies, and by limiting ourselves, we cannot move forward.
Wow, that's amazing. So the words we speak are actually sometimes blocking things within our mindset.
Yes, and that's something that is very interesting to see. There is a lot about neuro-linguistic programming, and some people think that it's woo-woo. However,
we all love woo-woo things here in the Fioras World podcast, so go ahead.
Yeah, so neuro-linguistic programming is talking about how we use the words, right? I mean, to really understand the world and to go into the direction. I think it's important just to make notice that it's not only this NLP that talks about this, but now even more other scientists are actually taking notice of that. And I was reading this wonderful book by Dr. Daniel Siegel, who is an expert in neuroscience and also child development and all that. So that's why I became a fan from his books in child development. And then he explains that when in that language, you have two different levels of understanding, right? So we have our senses, and then we can perceive reality through our senses. Right? And then if we perceive something that we do not know, or we perceive something new, we might not have a name for that, right? And but it impacts our brains and our bodies and everything else because we notice them through our senses. However, once we know the meaning of the word, right, then we associate it to something that we already have in our heads. So our previous knowledge, our previous experiences and everything else. And that's how we learn from our minds going down into our bodies. However, there is another way to learn or to perceive things from our bodies, and then it goes to our mind. So once, for example, you might be having an experience and then you can say, oh, I'm out of words. And you might be having out of words because this is something completely new to you. And this is something that you might not be really aware of that. And then you don't have a name specific for that specific feeling, experience. Yeah. However, it impacts you. And you remember that. You might look for the specific name or for the specific definition, and that's something that you will not forget.
Mm-hmm.
right? It depends on the impact that it gives you. So yes, words shape your reality in a way because you focus on what you perceive and what you know.
Can different words, can the same word have a different meaning to different people?
Oh yes, there are so many, and I'm gonna be talking about one word that hopefully people understand in the same way. um, and it can be quite controversial for some reason. Some people feel awkward about having this word, which is love.
Yes.
And maybe some people are going to swipe that away. And the question is, why are they doing that? Why does that word make people uncomfortable? It shouldn't, right? I mean, it's one of the most powerful words
Yeah.
in the dictionary. In English, the word love can mean something that is kind of an attraction or really extreme, to another person, right? But what about the love for a child? I mean, your son, or your family, your mom,
Your dog.
your dog. Yeah, I mean, the nature, everyone, right? So that is another meaning. That, to be honest, I was just trying to think about good examples for words this morning, and I was looking into the dictionary, and I didn't find that definition of love. It was more of a attraction to somebody else as an adult, and that is not the only type of love that exists, right? Then you have, funny enough, love is also used in tennis. I didn't know that. So if you say the score and then you have null, instead of saying null, you have love, which is quite funny the way that it plays out, right? And then you have these different types of love, like the love that you grow up with somebody, and the love that you had, the romantic love that you have in the beginning with somebody in a relationship, can evolve to be a more kind of mature type of love.
Correctly, yes. Also, we assign the meaning to a word love by our own experience, life experience, right? So if we had good love experiences, for example, then we like that word, for example, then we might love everything. But if we were broken-hearted, for example, and we had the bad experience in terms of love, is that correct? Am I going the right direction here? That
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you just actually use you exemplify what I was trying to come up with in the beginning, right? I mean, that those words that we learn, right, and they come with a meaning of what actually lays underneath our thinking, how we perceive the world, and how our beliefs, our values, and everything else.
Right.
So that shapes us. And the love that I might be feeling or you might be feeling can be different. So, and that is again one of the kind of the reasons why I started actually creating this book is because I don't think there are so many definitions that are kind of contracts, right? So you can find them in the dictionary and then you say, okay, this is love. And everybody thinks, okay, I agree, love can be between adults and it means romantic love. So that's something that is kind of a no brainer. However, depending on the experience, right, the kind of academic definition of love is different because it means something different to you. But the question is, what if we all will have at least the baseline type of knowledge so that we could understand each other at a specific level? Will the world be different or will it be better? Will we be daring to say this kind of words that look like forbidden words like love, even in the government? How many politicians have you heard saying the word love?
Not many,
No.
if even anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is one of the biggest things that many people might think love is a weakness. Because in case that you get brokenhearted, then you become weak in a way, right?
Right, yeah.
However, I think it's important to understand that you can be strong and be weak at the same time.
What about self-love? People often really lack in that subject.
That's a very interesting one as well.
It's different to romantic love. It's different to love to your child. So that's another meaning, isn't it?
It is, and it doesn't come in the dictionary.
It doesn't come.
Well, it depends on the dictionary that you read, but the one that I was reading this morning, it wasn't there, and it's so important, right? I mean, love is pretty much some people even in psychology think that it has to do with energy,
Right.
and there was something interesting that I was reading the other day, that our minds emit energy
By using words.
by using words. So you know that energy vibrates, right? I mean, if we
Yeah.
go to physics and everything like that, it vibrates. So
Me
even
sending the signal out by saying words, by
yeah,
thinking words.
yeah, absolutely. And then you send it out and you receive them, and then your body starts to align, and it's like a music, right? So you start your cells, your atoms start to dance according to the sound of the words, right? Even if you're talking a different language, you kind of attune to the tones of that.
Yeah, that's a great way of thinking. So, would you say it's good for people, for us, to question our understanding of words and what they mean to us?
Yes, because even those really nice dictionaries, they have a lot of information, they have a lot of definitions, which is really good, I mean, to start with. However, they determine the vision of the world that we have. And I think even we have to start thinking and to question our own thoughts, because we cannot believe everything that our thoughts tell us. Sometimes they tell us really lies, which are not.
Yes.
Yeah, and we don't have to believe all the lies that anybody tells us, even ourselves, right? So um, that's why I think it's important that everybody starts thinking about what is that. What is it? We have to check, ask questions, always ask questions. Why? What does it mean to me? Is it something that I can use? When can I use it? I mean, you can ask all the questions that you need to ask, and that's something that I learned last year. Is the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life?
Yeah. And I feel like we often use words which are familiar to us because we took vocabulary for, first of all, our parents. They use words towards us. Sometimes nice words, maybe not nice words. So, what household did you grow up in? And then, do you want to continue to prolong that kind of mindset in your own household when you're adult? Do you want to use the same words as in your house were used? If that was a loving household, why not? It's like what sort of lifestyle we want to live. So rethink what sentences you use, what words you use towards your child. Are this the same words my parents used for me? Secondly, I feel like from what you said that also what places we went to, what schools, what jobs, what organization, communities, what words they used with us.
That's a really interesting take, Fiora, and I think that this is the type of reasoning and that we need to really kind of get a view of which words are used in different contexts, right? And then you might, I mean, if you record and you kind of document all the words that are spoken, for example, at home, then you will see that there is a pattern of all the different words, right? Of all the messages that you receive. And that also happens with different organizations and different places that you are actually in, right? And that can tell you what type of environment you're in. And then you can ask yourself, maybe that environment, you might not feel that you are super comfortable with it, and maybe it has to do with the communication and the words that are being used, and maybe the same words which are being used at the workplace are being used at home, and you might be feeling maybe safer at home or maybe safer at the workplace, because it also depends on the intention that those words are being used.
Right.
So yeah, I think actually coming with this catalog of words and seeing which are the most common ones that you find can help you understand what type of messages are constantly given in that specific place. And let me tell you something that I learned as well last year. There is this other psychologist and in the United States. He wrote something that to me it had really profound implications for myself, and that was that our thoughts, about I think it's 80% of our thoughts are the same as the previous days.
Is that Joe Dispenza?
I was thinking about Daniel.
Okay. It's just the sentence with Joe Dispenza used very often. So
Oh.
yeah, I guess many people might use, yeah.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, that was new to me. And if we think about the same words that we use, then we're just kind of recycling the words.
We're repeating the same situation all over again. It's called programming. So yeah, our thoughts from today are 90% the same as from yesterday. That's science shows that. So yeah, and they are also very much associated to what programming we carry on in our subconscious mind. So what we were taught as children. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that
What
has
beliefs we carry.
yeah, and let's just focus on that for a moment. When you're talking about as children, our mind, the mind of a child is completely different of a mind of an adult, right? Because the brain evolves and grows, and the hormones through adolescence grow, and then you have an adult at the age of 25, right? The brain of an adult.
Yes.
So the perception of a child regarding the words that were used, right, needs to be reassessed. And it's up to the person to really go back and say and think, okay, so this is something that meant to me this a specific thing, like love, for example, right? And maybe it was a really painful experience, but then maybe as a teenager is you, I think people limit their life experiences by just negating specific words because they think it might be painful. However, it might open doors to different possibilities. And by saying this, I see that these people who might be thinking in this way, they are more focused about the fixed mindset. They are not really that curious enough to think and evolve and to reassess different things, because you learn with new experiences, right?
Correct.
And you might come to an experience that will help you learn, but you might never come to that, or you might not even notice that because your attention is focused on
the same things.
Yes, the same things, and you might not be open. So that is why I think it's so important to start being curious and ask yourself different questions. And the more questions that you ask, the better you become at asking questions, and your critical mind evolves. So now the danger that I see by having this fixed mindset is that focusing on just a bunch of words that help you to go through, navigate through a specific life experience, and then not learning more, right? And not learning the whole range. And I know people do not have time. The way that we have been taught words or vocabulary has been inefficient, boring. Many people hate that, and difficult. And it requires a really big effort in order to learn vocabulary. However, at the other side, it can open your scope. So you can get better lenses, and then you can get binoculars and see a full spectrum of things. That's the beauty, I think, of discovering vocabulary. But even when reading the definitions in the dictionary, it is important to even question them. What does that mean
to me?
Right.
Okay, Dulce. So, can we talk a little bit about yourself and how this work came to life? How did it all started for you?
That's a really good question. The whole journey started about 5 years ago. And it was pretty much during COVID times. My child, who I adore very, very much, she, as everyone, I know we were struggling with COVID. School was not really supportive. I thought, I come, of course, from a different country. I didn't know the way that the education system worked here. And I trusted the system. And then I noticed that that specific school was not supporting enough in the way that I expected them to support the children in getting more help. I remember at the time I talked to the headmistress, and I asked her to. I wanted to buy, like air purifiers, but then she mentioned no, there's a problem with health and safety. However, those purifiers, they were not going to be coming from dodgy places. They were pretty much the best quality that I could. And I wanted those to be implemented in my daughter's classroom. I was so desperate because I knew that she needed to socialize more because of the whole COVID thing. And it was really challenging. So we went through the whole thing. I wanted to bring her to a private school. I thought, oh yeah, like in Mexico, right? You pay and then you have a voice and everything like that. But it wasn't quite straightforward. So to be honest, I am so grateful for the situation, because then
That's a beautiful thing that you're actually grateful for the wrong things which happened to you in the past. This is sign of like evolvement. Yeah, when people feel grateful about the bad experiences.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even for that bad experience, it kind of taught me to learn
Yes.
and to
And brought you
prepare.
into this work.
Yeah, indeed. Because the challenges that, you have the choices, right? If you see a challenge, then you can just roll on the floor and cry.
Exactly. But most people do. That's called the victim mode.
Yeah, and the thing is that we were taught to be victims. The way that I see it, I don't think it's really people's fault in a way. If you take a
No.
look into media, if you take a look into the way that we are taught at school, even from our parents who actually had to learn the same way, we were taught to be victims because all the information came to us, right? We were not taught to question anything.
No.
Or to use our brains and everything like that. So we were made vulnerable for the society that we are living right now.
We just been taught this is like this, and you just go with it.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think that we were. I didn't sign up to agree, right? But this is me, and I don't think that anybody came to this world to agree to everything. I think that we just need to get our power back and to try to understand, what am I giving up by becoming a victim? Yeah, because you give something, right? You always give something. And then you have an opportunity cost to actually stand up, do something that can change your life.
Yeah. So you went to private school with Lily.
Yeah. And we were not prepared. I didn't help her. I was working, focused on working. I was really a horrible parent. I really trusted the educational system here in the UK, and my daughter didn't have enough knowledge in order to pass exams to get into a private school. And that was pretty much my responsibility. I didn't know that it was my responsibility. I really trusted the school. And it wasn't her fault. And it was a really big hit on me because I'm the mother. I'm supposed to take care of her. And then I thought, okay, let's turn this around. This is a challenge that we have to overcome. What can we learn from this?
So you didn't give up?
No. I think that giving up is it's a free lesson, right? It's a free lesson. Every challenge is a free lesson that you get in life. So, and I really like things for free. So the only price that you have to pay is pretty much the effort that you put in.
Yes.
Right. So, and I'm not afraid of putting effort into things. I'm a really curious person, luckily, but this is the thing. I started learning how can I prepare my child. What is the requirement to get into 11 plus? I didn't even know what it was. So I started doing my own research. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I am not an education specialist. I was thinking about homeschooling her at the time. And then I thought, this is going to be too much. I still work. Still need to pay the bills and everything like that. And I'm not a specialist in education. So let's get her a tutor. And that's the first time that I became aware of how big this industry is. There are so many tutors. And the question is, why are there so many teachers? Is that because the children are not brilliant? I mean, is it up to the children or is it up to the schools?
Wow.
And it really hit me. We needed to have a tutor because they know the system, they know everything. The school was not willing to help us prepare for the 11 plus because they just have a checklist. And how cool they, right? I mean, teachers, they have 30 children in one classroom. They're cramped and they need to handle everyone just to meet the minimum. But the education system that I experienced could improve. So we got a tutor that was actually really good. We worked with her, and I'm saying we because it wasn't just leaving my daughter to go to the tutor and come back. No, I mean, there was so much homework on me as well to help my child with the task that she needed to learn. And the hardest one that we found was vocabulary.
Wow.
And vocabulary, why? Because, well, I still spoke Spanish at home. And my husband still spoke Dutch to her at home. So she's trilingual. And English, I mean, getting words that are not common, getting to learn for a non-native speaker can be quite challenging.
Oh, yes.
If you don't need them, you don't learn them, right? So, but then my daughter needed to learn them in order to pass that exam.
Yes.
And I'm not saying my English is super bad or something like that.
Your English is really good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, but that's a specific level where you can understand all the phrases in Charles Dickens' books. You know, I mean, I still have to look at them in the dictionary. and then the only mechanism that I could get from the tutor was rote memorization. Write down the definitions, put it in a book and go through them. And then I thought, but this is just impossible. I mean, I like to write a lot. I mean, I write quite often everything that comes to me. Even if I'm in a meeting, I'm writing down notes. That helps me.
Yes.
However, rote memorization for just definitions of a word can be quite deceiving because you think that you're doing a lot of work. But when you ask a child, then I ask mine, she could give me the definition that she read, and it was spot on, bravo. But then in the different exams and everything, she was lacking. And even comprehension is like, how come? I mean, she knows these words. And then I understood that what she missed was context
The meaning of the word for her.
and the meaning of the word. Yeah, so what it really meant to her. So, oh my goodness.
Memorizing the definition is different than actually remember it because it means something to us.
Yes, it's embedding that
Yes.
word with really kind of a swallowing, chewing it, swallowing, savoring it, and make it go to your digestive system and
Yes.
go through your bloodstream. That's a way that I can explain that it's really reeling by
Feel it.
reeling. Yeah, feeling it. So I started to investigate, do research, what actually works. And the first tool, Google, right? How can I teach my child vocabulary? And is read more. She was an avid reader. Still, her vocabulary was not there yet. And which words? I mean, when you read a book for pleasure, then you can see, oh, okay, this word, I'm just going to skip it. I don't care because you don't want to miss the plot, right?
Yes.
So all the flow and everything like that, it's really hard to get something. And then there were some words that my beautiful child learned, but she had an idea of what they meant, and then she started using them. But those words were not the correct ones, and she noticed later on. So that's why.
So what worked for you in terms of learning vocabulary?
For her to it was pretty much a coaching exercise that I did with her. What I did was first look for a lot of examples of those specific words, how they were used, looking into the different meanings, definitions for those words, and also try to make her think what that word meant to her.
And how I would use it in real life.
Yes. So have you come to that experience? Think about it. Where you might be needed or to describe that word or to come up with something like that. Come with the stories as well. So I wrote several stories really quickly, blah, 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 really simple stories, but with her as a main character. And then having all those specific words being mentioned. So, so those were kind of the main things. But then we had really difficult words that she needed to learn, and even for me. And what I did was say it in a different way. So speak out loud, but do it with a specific intention. So, for example, if you say fear, say it with fear, like, oh, fear. I mean, I'm not saying fear, right? It's a simple word, but go to these things and try to have that memory in your body as well. Right? And if you have a really negative word that is like, for example, like hate, I mean, some people cannot even say it because it reacts, makes them a reaction in their body, right? Is just think about it from the different angles, right? And not, you can think about, oh, this is a positive word, a negative word. And to be honest, words are words. And then you define a word. Well, you have the definition that is a contract between the different people that you can use, right? So you can decode it. But on the other hand, you can use it in different situations where you think it's more appropriate. And by using that specific word, it can help you to become more intentional in your communication and to even come across in a different way. And that is, I think, the beauty of even teaching other people. Seeing or thinking about different things and becoming even more intelligent in a way, because you don't go through the same patterns of the 90% of the thoughts that you saw in the first day.
That's great.
Yeah, but then you kind of complement
You just expand your horizons.
Yes.
Horizons, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, Dulce, how this work, this challenge, because I know Lily has passed exam and she's in private school, so you've achieved, but how that challenge, how that experience changed you as a person?
Oh my goodness, going through the 11 plus changes families, really, because it requires a lot of energy, not only from the child and from the parents, but also if there are siblings, it also impacts them. So that changed me in a way that I still wanted to keep my job,
Yes.
working really hard, long hours, supporting my child in the best way that I could, going by word with her, and to be honest, I was deflated. My energy levels were really low, and I burned out. And I burned out physically, mentally, and then I thought, this is just unfair. I remember the tutor at the time who told me, well, actually, she didn't say it with these words. However, it was something that I felt really deep, saying that, well, to be honest, it doesn't matter how much you achieve in your career, you have to help your child. She was a tutor, of course, that I see that from her point of view, but then I thought, I am a woman. I want to have ownership of my life. I want to get to specific places so that I can help other women achieve and grow, and we can make the world better, right? That was my goal. And yes, of course, I have a child and I want to help her as well. So why can I not have both things? And then I thought that there are so many women, career-driven, ambitious women who might be feeling the same as I did. And why do we have to suffer? Why is society built in a way that does not support women? When we are parents, we have to struggle with homework, with career, with having enough time to do the groceries and everything else. And the system is not supportive, really. So I thought, why not helping? Everything that I have learned from my experience with my child, then I can bring it up to the world. And that's pretty much the reason for this whole book. I was doing research after finding this read more type of advice. We got so many flashcards, we got so many apps, we get everything. I mean, really, we spent so much money into getting those, and to be honest, I was overwhelmed. And I'm trusting that there are so many other women who are going through that, and they're so overwhelmed as well. And the thing is that we just need something that actually works. The time that I invested with my child, just doing the research, trying to come with this specific methodology, help her to achieve a vocabulary. And to be honest, the reason why I thought, okay, this one really works is because she started to get praised by her teachers in her primary schools. Her teacher said, yeah, Lily has amazing vocabulary. And then I thought, oh my goodness, if she has really vocabulary, it's because this works. And then she started writing her own stories, and in a way that actually it transformed me and it got me into the places. And there were some words that I didn't even understand myself, and I had to ask her. And she got praised at school in English class, and I feel so proud of her because that is her achievement.
Yeah, really great achievement, yes.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty much everything together.
How it changed you as a person, that work, that going through all working on Lily and working on a book and working full-time job? How you changed? How your version of Dulce changed?
Let me tell you something that I'm not really open to say into the world, only to really close friends. And now I'm saying it it's a premiere. I have always have the feeling that I'm a very sensitive person. And through this walk, there was one night, and believe me or not, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I went to the loo, I went back, but then this question kind of struck me. like who won the Nobel Prize in 2022? Who comes up with these questions in the middle of the night? I don't know. The Nobel Prize of Physics. So it was really specific, 2022. And I don't care about the Nobel Prize. I wasn't good in physics at school. Why 2022? I mean, and then I started Googling, why not 3 o'clock in the morning? And then I found out that 3 physicists won the Nobel Prize for Physics because they were able to prove Einstein's theories on quantum mechanics. And to be honest, at the moment that happened, it was just like, okay, that sounds interesting. I read the whole thing and, well, or half of it, and I didn't understand anything. So then I was prepared to go to work, but then to go back to sleep. And then I remember that ChatGPT existed. So I asked ChatGPT, what does this mean? And I understood a little bit about quantum physics. I became interested. Oh yeah, this is interesting. And then I learned about what is the word? There is this thing about the tangling, right? So once the way that I understood it from ChatGPT is if a photon in the examples does something, the other one does something completely different at the same time, right? And then I thought, this is interesting. How did they test that? And that must be amazing, right? But then I started questioning myself, what does that mean in the world? I mean, it's so interesting, but why will they actually try to test this? And who financed this information? And what are they going to do about this, right? And then I learned that there were already people applying it. So you have the quantum computers. It's used in cybersecurity, and there were some tests last year in April in Germany where they tested this with 100-something kilometers long distance, and then they did the testing and it worked. So distance was not an issue for this theory, has been proven to work. And then I found it fascinating. So I just went back to bed. A couple of days, it was 2 weeks later, there was an event at a new school where my daughter attended. And funny enough, and it was with parents, right? Just to get to know the school, blah, blah, blah. It was in the summer. And then at the end of the event, I decided just to go have dinner outside. We never do that. I mean, we normally will go home and have dinner at home, but it's like, oh yeah, it's a nice day. Let's go and walk. And then we went to this place we never go there. And there was another family of the children that go into that school, the child. And then we started talking, oh yeah, so the child is going to that school as well. Yeah. And then we started to talk more. And then I asked the mom, so what do you do? And then she said, well, I work in cybersecurity. And then we started talking about that. And then she was telling me, yeah, we are actually using quantum mechanics and this and that. And to be honest, for me, that was just a thing like, I had been open. I wasn't open to many other things, but I think everything that came with changing my mindset of being only driven by work, driven by so many things, it kind of opened the doors for me to kind of get to know more about what was going on, right? It's just like a sign telling me, whatever you're thinking is not crazy. Right? The reason why you woke up in the middle of the night, maybe it was to meet this lady, or maybe it was just to make you notice about the different possibilities that there are.
Right. So because you went through that challenge with Lily, passing the exams, you started to questioning things in your own identity and in your own life?
Yes, because I realized that I wasn't only somebody who works, right? A professional lady doing things, but also not even a mother who was helping my child, but also what else could I be? I didn't want to go back to the same way that I was, because this experience changed me. Being being used to work really, really, really hard for so long, and your body gets used to work, and then it deflates you, and then you are strong, and then you're weak at the same time. It's also confusing. So then I had to step back, and then I have to redefine myself. Who am I? And I have to actually strip from all the identity that I had, all those beliefs that I thought that I was. And then I had to concentrate on my essence through meditation. I have always tried meditation, and it was comforting, but this was more intentional. And by doing this, doing that meditation and to going back, I got a message to realize that we all come from creation, from the creator. So you come from the creator. I come from the creator.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like really that kind of redefined my identity. I am not just this person living in the material world trying to do the best and everything, but I am something else as well.
I came here to create.
Exactly. And that is the reason why most of the education in primary school or something like the traditional one does not work, because we are not asked to create.
Just to memorize.
Exactly. Just to follow instruction, memorize, but not to even challenge. And when we are looking into vocabulary, in the way that, to be honest, it worked for my child, she was creating
her own personality as well.
Yes, because that is something that changes you. Once it's vocabulary is not about memorizing or having shallow understanding, but rewiring your brain.
So would you just say, in a way, wide way, broad way, that people, because this podcast is for people in some sort of transition, they might struggle with depression, PTSD, they might go through some sort of changes in life. I'm trying to inspire people to change here. Would you say that some sort of illnesses, mental illness, physical illness, might come through because of lack of this personality, this being some like told what to do, and it just disagree with us in some ways, but we are not brave enough to question it and find our own way?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, that is a really interesting point. Just to clarify, I'm not a psychologist.
Yes.
I mean, just from my experience, from being an ill person myself and going through the lowest of the lowest I've ever been in my life, really. The way that I see it is that we have given so much power to others and try to always please. So we started with pleasing our parents, right? It's just like, I'm going to be behaving nicely and everything like that. And we are always behaving in a way to please others, instead of actually just looking into also accepting ourselves, right? And the reason why we please others is because we have that need, right, to survive and to have that need of attachment.
I'm saying just in terms of myself, and I work as a map therapist. I'm working with people who struggle, and they often, like, I ask them, what would you like to create? And they have no idea. They have no idea, some of them, what they would like to create. Or they have an idea, but they just don't know how to start and don't feel brave enough to start. So, yeah.
So that's an interesting take, because I had the same thing. I had the same thing, and I knew that I wanted to do something different, right?
Yeah.
So let me tell you something that I read as well recently, and it came actually from again this psychologist, which I'm really fond of. Well, not psychologist, is a neurologist, scientist, and he mentioned something about the world of possibilities. Because what he did in his study was to, and in his results and everything, he started working actually in a theory. I need to follow that on. But he works with graphs and everything like that. And in one of those graphs, he showed it to physicists. And the same graph for quantum mechanics are following the way that the mind works or something like that. So it has to do with mental possibilities. So it is just that we have to be open in
And
a way.
brave.
And brave, yeah, to get
And
into
curious.
and curious, yeah, because one of the
Not just read more.
correct
Get
because
to know yourself. What words mean for you, for example.
absolutely.
And that's our subject for today. So can we just discuss how this book could actually help people briefly? What the exercises are there?
So the book is pretty much a kind of a mental exercise, like going to the gym, right?
Okay,
it's a
that's
different
interesting.
yeah, it's a different way to learn vocabulary in a way that it feels more natural in
Right.
the way that you create. Because if you think about young children, they always create. They start singing and dancing. I mean, they go around their own place and everything. And they create, right? So, and it's also asking questions. So it's you having prompts to make you think about the words in a different way,
Right.
to make them yours.
Wow, beautiful. And where people can get that book?
Oh, they can get it in the website lexilume.co. And
Lexilume.co. Okay.
yeah.
We'll put the link in description.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Dulce, thank you so much for coming all the way from London today. I really, really enjoyed interviewing you, and I think I'll be looking at getting that book as well for my own songwriting, for example.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we want to include and start. I mean, we started with this, and we want to start as well one with feelings, to include the different variations of feelings. I think that many people understand what sad means and everything, but all the different shades and
Brilliant. So your one creation brings another creation into it. So yeah, thank you so much for what you're doing and who you are, and yeah, I can't be grateful for having you here today. Thank you so much.
oh, thank you, Fiora, thank you.
If you found this interview interesting, look into Dulce book. Get it from. Can you repeat the website address?
Is www.lexilume.co.
And if you would like to hear more stories, transformative stories, or get the experts like Dulce to talk about their subject, please like, comment, and subscribe to Fiora's World podcast. Thank you.